back to ETAW. Today we're going to be going over cravats, a little bit more detail. A couple weeks ago we talked about the need to carry one of these in your IFAC, in your emergency medical kits, just because of how many uses they have. Cravats are one of the most overlooked pieces of medical equipment just because of how versatile they are. Think of the cravat as the Leatherman of tools. You can do just about anything you want with it. We're going to be going through showing pictures, not exactly how to set it up, but just as an overall view. Later we will be going over more in depth into making the different dresses, especially the traction splints and splinting. People will be doing that a lot more in depth here coming up. But we wanted to go over cravats again, give you an example of everything that a cravat can do. This is just an example, there's more. And it really depends on how creative you are. So when we look at the cravats, what they are is a piece of cloth that about 37 inches by 37 inches by 58 inches. They're a big triangle. Originally, cravats were used back in the 1920s and even before. Men would wear them almost as a tie. And then we saw it go into the Boy Scouts. And the Boy Scouts, their neckerchiefs are actually based on a cravat because of how useful they are and how much you can do with them. The first thing that we're going to look at head injuries. You'll see a picture here of how to dress a head injury. This is the same way also we treat a fractured jaw. If you have a fractured jaw, you just want to move that bottom strap over the jaw a little bit more to hold it up. We can use it as a head cover, a do-rag as we used to call them, to keep the sun off your head, to protect so that you don't get sunburned on your head. We can use them for neck wounds where we're putting it around the neck and then the ABD pad up around the neck, and then the cravat goes around underneath the opposite armpit. We can use them as an actual tourniquet. As you can see in this picture, we use two cravats. One is the actual tourniquet part where we put in a piece of metal, preferably, that we can then twist, use as a windlass, and then secure it with a second cravat. The next one we have securing bandages in place. So this one is on my arm, and then you can also do it on the abdominal cavity, leg, wherever. If you don't have Curlex to wrap the wound with, that gives an awesome wrap for them are cravats. Next one we're going to look at is securing a splint. This is on my arm, but you can do a leg, you can do a knee. So you can secure the splint and splint any part of the body that you need to. The next two we're going to look at is a pelvic binder. Pelvic binders are used if somebody has a pelvic fracture, what we call an open book fracture. This is a very dangerous fracture. It can actually lead to death. It's one of the two fractures that very easily can lead to death, both the pelvic and the femur fractures. The next one we're going to look at is a traction splint. Doing a traction splint, you need a Nalgene bottle that goes up by your hip. We're going to secure it along the way with cravats, and then we're going to pull traction around the ankle to the end of a trekking pole so that we can actually produce a traction splint and secure a femur fracture. We can use it as an ankle brace. They're not as good as ace wraps. I like ace wraps better, but if you don't have an ace wrap, you can put enough tension on the cravat so that we can do a good ankle brace. Other things you can use you can use them as burn dressings. They make a phenomenal burn dressings, especially when we look at the North American Rescue extra large cravats. They do an excellent job, and they're sterilized in this package, so we don't have to worry about bacteria or anything getting into wounds. Burn wounds. Burn wounds have an extremely high rate of infection, so if we can keep them nice and clean, less chance of infections, much better outcomes with those. And really after that, it really depends on your imagination. You can use it as a wash rag to clean up anything from dishes if you're out on a camp out or out hiking to washing yourself with it. It makes an excellent wash rag for yourself. Use these as toilet paper. We can use it as a pre-water filter. We can use it as a baby swaddle. It is the only acceptable form of dog clothing. We can use it as a face mask. Let's say we have a brush fire or something, we need to knock down that smoke. Use it as a binder for instead of rope. So if you're going to bind something with rope, you can cut the cravat in strips and bind them with strips. Because they're 100% cotton, make excellent fire starters. So as you can see, the cravats are a fantastic multi-tool that you can carry with you that comes in use in so many places. Until next time, have a great day.